The Kingdom of Bretonia. Strong, noble, chivalrous, and now back thanks to the old world. Now, normally I'm a dwarf player, but I do have history with Bretonia, or more specifically, family history with Bretonia. Back during the days of Warhammer Fantasy, my mom actually played a Bretonian army. Well, the days of fantasy have come and gone, unfortunately, and my ma no longer plays. But she still has a lot of the old models. Not all of them. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been lost to time, but the models she does have, she handed down to me. And what better time to take them out, show them off, and paint them up for Old World. Admittedly, my storage was not the best. These have gone through 2 separate moves, and are mostly intact, so don't completely hate me. But yeah, there are a lot of knights. 24 to be exact, including 6 Grail Knights with full command, and enough command groups to run 3 full lance formations of normal knights. Yeah, let's get a good look at that face though. It's not all just knights though. Mixed into this bunch is actually a prophetess on horseback. And not just any prophetess, it's actually a Dogs of War model, Lucrezia Belladonna. The horse isn't right, but the head is actually on the Heralder's horse, so I will definitely be ripping that off and giving it back to her. But wait, there's more. Not tasers, although if you do have a family or friends who's law enforcement, they make great carrying cases. But as you can see here, we have some peasant bowmen, or archers. I think they actually got their name changed. But yes, we have 11 of them. They're kind of in rough shape, admittedly. That bow does not like to survive. I also happen to have this beautiful model, an original metal damsel, made in 2000 something. Those are just some of the highlights. I don't want to go through every single model. So let's get into breathing some new life into these guys. So starting off, we got some LA's Totally Awesome here, and in it we're going to be putting some of the models that need stripped the most. We have the banner bearer we saw earlier and his horse, and believe it or not, the Elector Count of Hockland, which I was really surprised by and only figured out once I had gotten all that paint off. And while I had originally only intended to strip the models that had some unfortunate paint jobs, after closer inspection I noticed a lot of, actually all of the horses had a subpar priming. All of them had this chalkiness to it. There was a lot of obscure detail, and I just decided to bite the bullet and strip pretty much all of them. So, scrub, 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 rinse, 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 and some really stubborn paint, and we have some beautifully stripped models, ready for priming. You'll have to forgive no footage of me spray painting them. I just wanted to get it done, and it was really hot outside. But here we have a plate of freshly primed models. Let's get painting. Now, for the new paint job, I want to try and honor the original one, but in the colors of Carcassonne. So first I started painting in the colors on the cloth, so blue on top, red on the bottom, and I decided to go with a black, dark brown colored horse. I then began going in with a white paint, creating the zigzags to make painting yellow easier later on. After I was done getting the white all sorted, I went in with Imperial Fist Contrast and very carefully went through and tinted all of the white with yellow. The mini then sat for a year untouched because I really didn't like how the footage came out. How easy it is to be disheartened. But after a year, I decided to pick the mini back up and start with the face. So for a base coat, I am using Cadian Flesh Tone. I then went in with watered down Guilliman Flesh Contrast. I just find it to be better than Reichland Flesh Shade a lot of the time. Oh, and don't spill it! That was not fun to clean up. Highlight the face with Cadian Flesh Tone again. Once that's dried, I went in with Doombull Brown for the beard to give it a nice reddish brown orange color. And then very, very carefully go in and dot white into the eyes. This was very difficult to do because I had to hold the mini about a foot away from me. And then, to be as faithful to the original miniature as I could, I decided to give it some nice blue eyes. So let's just go and it's done. Nice blue irises. But I'm not done. He still needs pupils. And for that, I'm using this, a Micron 003 pen. Little dibbity dab there, and a little dibbity dab there, and ta-da! He's got blue eyes. And for just a quick speed run on all of the miscellaneous bits, I used Wildwood on his flagstaff, Hoplite Gold for any gold bits, and Nuln Oil over the armor to give it some nice shading after I touched it up a bit. And for his shield, I'm just going to break down the basic steps I took. I started by halving it, red and blue on each side. I then started sketching out the Carcassonne yellow sword in the middle, before realizing I should probably make it black so that it has an outline to better define it. Afterwards, I painted in the sword and attempted to fleur-de-lis up top, and began to paint the edge of the shield silver, before realizing that my clumsy self swiped the top of the shield and got silver on the design. A little bit of cleanup and a little bit of Hoplite Gold on that little fleur-de-lis at the bottom of the shield, and it's all done. I guess the only thing left to do is the base. The problem is the old world has a different base size than fantasy, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of surgery. Not to worry though, a little bit of touching up and he's ready to be glued. And don't worry, that piece of wood is still getting used to. Now, for my basing scheme, I'm going for an autumn look, so nice oranges and reds and fallen leaves and such. First step of the process is using AK's Dark Earth to give it a nice muddy base. It's okay to get this onto the hooves, because after all, it's a horse, it's going to be running through it. Once that's dried, it's onto the flocking. Is this your card? So a little bit of watered down PVA glue all along the base. I then combined two different flocks, a nice lively green along with a nice vibrant orange, leaning more towards the green. Once that's all mixed up, just a big old dunk in there. And admittedly, this is where I messed up. I was impatient and didn't let it dry, and moved straight to the static grass, which did disrupt the flock a bit. But I just took some tacky glue, this time undiluted, and sprinkled static grass right over that. And for the final touch, I am using some of these birch seeds to replicate leaves. Now, for the base rim, I was a bit conflicted. Originally, I did black on the other two knights, but I really wasn't a fan of it. Something wasn't right. I'm also not the biggest fan of the whole vibrant goblin green look though, so I compromised and used this Vallejo US camo green, and I actually really like how it looks. It's just the right balance of natural looking, but still has that nostalgic feel of a green base rim. Well, now that it's fully painted, I believe it's time for a reveal. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I was intimidated by doing the blue eyes, but I think they came out great, even if he is doing a really mean side eye. It is a little embarrassing that this took me a whole year to finish, but I'm glad that I stuck through with it and that it's done and that I finished this video. It was a lot of new stuff for me, using cameras to film myself painting, getting a whole new camera and trying to learn that while also recording footage. And the editing was different than I'm used to as well. Well, if you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope you think my paint job looks great. What do you guys think? I'd like to know down in the comments. Do you think that I paid respects to the old paint job adequately, or do you think that I could have done a better job? I'd love to hear it, and if you have any recommendations, I'd love to hear those as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.